all citizens have the right, law-abiding citizens, to keep and bear arms. That's what it was designed to do. You're proposing giving the government the very fail-safe it's designed against, to protect against a tyrannical government. You're saying, let's give the government the authority to strip people of rights. That's like a feedback loop of just a violation of human rights on a scale that I don't think you might know.
So you personally, do you think having the right to free speech is more important than having the right to a gun?
No. I think they're both equally important.
You think they're both equally important?
Yes.
So you think, like, for the development of our country, it's essential to have guns and free speech, and you think they're on the same level in a scale?
I think the right to own and keep firearms.
So it's more of like a right thing.
Yes.
For you. Okay. Well, I mean, why is it just America that we have tens of thousands of deaths per year?
It's not.
I mean, it is on it. If you look at statistics.
No, we're not even top 25.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're not even top 25 when it comes to firearm deaths. We're not even we are the most armed populace, but we're not even the top country for mass shootings. Matter of fact, we're behind Norway and France, even though more people here have guns.
I don't know. I think
we're
never
28.
heard of these statistics before, honestly. I don't know where you get yours from, because all of the ones that I've seen show that America is always topping that list.
Okay. Well, let's say we're able to show you statistics afterward.
Okay.
Let's assume that those are correct. Okay. It still doesn't get to the question. Let's assume none of them are correct. What gives you the right, or what gives anyone here the right, to strip someone of their ability to protect themselves?
So why don't we dissect that a little? What are we protecting ourselves from? I know you mentioned it from internal and external threats. So what are those threats?
Tyrannical government.
Okay,
first and foremost.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, of course, the ability to protect yourself from anyone who wants to do you harm, from evil people who are willing to commit harm.
I mean, I don't know why that should have anything to do with being able to own an assault rifle or an automatic machine gun or anything like that.
Okay, first off, a couple things there. What's an assault rifle?
Like one of them really large guns.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. No, it's not. And,
I'm just quoting Call of Duty.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you mentioned a few things. Where do you get your news from? Forgive me, or your sources? What do you usually read?
CNN.
CNN.
Twitter.
CNN, Twitter, and a lot of professors probably here.
Probably.
Right. Everything that you have said here, and I say this respectfully, is incorrect. About the Australia buyback, the statistics about that, about the Second Amendment, now about assault rifles and automatic weapons. None of the shootings that we've discussed here, involved automatic weapons. Certainly not Florida. These are not automatic weapons. Automatic weapons are already heavily regulated. They're basically all but unattainable for the average
What did the
citizen.
Las Vegas guy use?
Yeah, he used semi-automatic weapons.
So semi-automatic. And switch that word. What about that? Why do people need to have that? I'm sorry, I didn't know, but...
Do you want to explain to you what the difference is? Because that's really important. Don't you think? Because you sat... Here's something, and I appreciate you sitting down. But you sat down here, and you were willing to strip people of their rights. You were willing to say, listen, it's time to progress as a country, which I'll get to in a second, will cause countless more muggings, murders, rapes of innocent people, the likes of which you've never even been able to comprehend and didn't take into account. You were willing to remove the right of those innocent civilians to protect themselves based on completely faulty data and knowledge of things that simply aren't so. There's a huge difference between an automatic weapon, that's a machine gun, and a semi-automatic weapon. A semi-automatic weapon is every handgun. Pull the trigger once, it goes bang. That's a semi-automatic weapon. That's most hunting rifles. That's nearly all handguns that are used for self-defense. So my point is, and I say this respectfully because a lot of people who've sat down, so this is not an insult, but almost everything that you just said is incorrect as a premise. And you were using that, or going up based on that knowledge, to justify the stripping of someone's ability to protect themselves. I think you're an empathetic person who wants to save lives, right? And I'm just trying to tell you that first off, you can't save every life, right?
Okay.
That's where I believe you're coming from. I don't believe in ascribing a motive. You see this right now at the CNN town hall. Why don't you care about the lives lost? No, why don't these people care about the lives saved? I mean, a good example is we don't hear about. Remember the Sutherland Springs shooting? That was right here in Texas. You know what happened there, right? Does the name Stephen Williford mean anything to you?
No.
Okay. So I have a show. It's called Lotto with Crowder.
Okay.
Stephen Williford was someone I interviewed on my show.
Okay.
This was after you remember the Sutherland Springs shooting?
I've heard of it. I don't remember
killed
exactly.
far more people than the one in Florida.
Okay.
Deadly shooting in Sutherland Springs, just outside of San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
Sutherland Springs.
Sutherland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sutherland Springs? Yeah, Sutherland. Sorry, I said Sutherford because it's Stephen Williford. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so this was a very deadly shooting that occurred at a church. Mm-hmm. This was within the last 4 months. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure you've seen all the press, obviously, after Florida, boycott the NRA, gun control now, the CNN town hall. Stephen Williford is someone we interviewed on our show. Okay? The reason I interviewed him on our show, this lowly little podcast, was because no one else was really even calling him. No one else really wanted to hear his story. Do you know who Stephen Williford is?
No.
He's the man who stopped the active shooter with an AR-15.
Okay.
It was a man shooting up a church, an evil man shooting up a church. Mm-hmm. And Stephen Williford, who is a hero, shot him with an AR-15 and stopped it. So the media didn't even interview him.
So I guess, are you saying like everyone should get an AR-15?
No, I'm not saying everyone should get an AR-15. But what I am saying is you say you have your facts and you have your data, and then you acknowledge that perhaps you're misinformed on some of these issues. You mentioned CNN.
Okay.
Why didn't CNN have Stephen Williford? This was a more deadly shooting carried out against a church here in Texas. Stephen Williford, he wasn't some kid who happened to be maybe even a different wing of the school or wasn't even there that day. This was the man who personally stopped the active shooter. You don't even know his name. Should that maybe illuminate that there's a bias in today's media that isn't giving you the full story? And if you don't believe me on anything, you can go watch my interview with Stephen Williford, and you can go Google the Sutherland Springs shooting and Stephen Williford. It was an unbelievably deadly shooting, and he stopped it with an AR-15.
I mean, I still go back to my initial thing, like more guns equals more deaths by gun. Like, you can't tell me that's incorrect.
It is incorrect.
How?
I just
I mean, like,
told you
no,
how.
I mean, I get
because
it.
More
but, like,
lives are saved by firearms. More lives are saved by defensive uses of firearms. And there is no statistical data to suggest, you started with, let's just get rid of the Second Amendment.
I mean,
maybe let's get rid of automatics.
Okay.
Then maybe semi-automatics. So again, either way, and I think what we found here is no matter any way you slice it, for you to change, you have to do away with the Second Amendment and ban guns. It's not about automatic. It's not about a bump stock. Semi-automatic, now it's all guns. People either have the right to protect themselves or they don't. And there is no data to say that stripping people of the right to self-protection would make us safer. As a matter of fact, there is some data to suggest otherwise. New York, Chicago, places with California, places with very strict gun laws, are some of the most violent gun crime in the country.
Okay, I understand. I guess it makes it look that I'm saying that guns don't protect people, guns are this and that, and like all they bring is harm. But I'm saying that I still believe, like, until I look at those statistics that you're talking about, I still fully believe that more access to guns is going to lead to more psychotic people getting through the system that we currently have. I mean, at least you would have to agree that we need some type of change with regards to regulation. You can't tell me we're fine and we're doing okay and
I certainly would do away with some things. For example, I would do away with 30-day waiting periods for firearms.
Oh yeah.
I would do away with that. I would do away with people not being able to purchase suppressors for hunting. I believe it would be more safe if people can.
So you just think we shouldn't limit the type of audience that gets access to guns?
No, we already do.
You don't think we don't need any more of a limitation? Like, okay, so let me ask you, what ways or what avenues can we take to ensure that things like Las Vegas won't happen again?
You can never ensure that things like Las Vegas won't happen.
Or at least that bad.
All you can do, here's the thing, and we talked about this on the program not long ago. Human beings commit horrible acts of evil. Okay? You can never stop them from doing that. Mm-hmm. You ban guns in Australia, violent crime is the same. In the UK, violent crime has gone up. People find a way. Look at we're actually behind.
So I mean,
there were shootings in France. Look at Nice. Look at what's happened. Look at the terrorist attacks. You can't stop it.
Does UK have more gun deaths than we do? I'm pretty sure they don't.
They have more violent crime. Now here's something else that's also important. Comparing violent crime statistics across countries is very difficult because they have different standards for violent crime. If you look in the United States, places with the strictest gun laws have some of the worst gun crime. Now, as far as I'm not so concerned with just gun crime. I'm concerned with violent crime.
Okay.
Violent crime, there is a statistical correlation between violent crime increasing and populaces being unarmed. being stripped of the ability to protect themselves. You even look at states where people carry firearms, or people are more likely to carry arms freely. They're less likely to be targeted, less likely to be attacked. There is often lower violent crime. So there are plenty of statistical correlations there. No one is saying that we are perfect, but I think human evil, I think we both acknowledge evil is a part of the human condition. You have some evil in you, so do I. People have evil in them, people have good in them. I believe all people have all of the above. So people who get overrun with evil, they will commit acts of evil. It comes down to what's the best way to prevent that. Either you believe in disarming all good people, and also doing away with the Constitution and the rights that afford us everything else, such as the ability to peaceably assemble and speak freely, or you believe that allowing good people to protect themselves
I don't know.
is a solution.